What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Phase 6, your source for music, business, motivation, and support. It's your boy, Sirr Love, keeping up with the topic that I started on the last series. We're going to talk about what is a music master. If you didn't see the last video, I talked about 5 ways you can lose your music masters. In this particular video, I'm going to talk about what is a music master. Why is this so important? There's so many people out there that talk about and brag like, yeah, I got my masters. I got to keep my masters. We fought over our masters. They were taking my masters. What the is a master? Gotta put a little beat noise there or something like that. I don't know, let's jump into it. It's your boy, Sirr Love. Number one thing to know about a music industry master. Yep, that's right. We're jumping straight into it. The number one thing to know is that a music industry master is the final recording of your record. What does that mean? Let's break it down like this. You know, a lot of times we think about masters as some physical thing. Some of us think about it as some legal thing. The truth is, it's both. It's both a physical thing and a legal thing. But before we talk about the physical thing and the legal thing, you have to understand the emotional thing, the sonic thing, the vibe, the representation that we had to create a physical or a legal for in the first place. The beauty of music itself. Music, as you guys know at this point, it's a series of waves and frequencies going up and down, crashing and clashing that create some type of harmonic symphony within our ears to get us excited, make us want to dance, make us want to cry, make us want to whatever the F it makes us want to do, right? This combination that is created is typically almost impossible, probably literally impossible for us to reproduce once we produce it the first time. We can create something similar. We can play music at the same time. The drum can hit at the same point. The words can come out at the exact same point. But the truth is, if you put those two waves, if you record a song over again after recording it one time, throw away all your original files, try again from scratch, you will never be able to recreate the exact same feel and emotion as the first recording, okay? You know, when you say this word, the volume might be slightly higher, slightly lower, the pitch may slightly be different. We can use all sorts of equipment to try to make it match, but it's never gonna feel quite the same. Now, many of you guys have probably experienced this. You know how sometimes you had that one record that you recorded, you thought it was dope, you came back and you re-recorded some elements thinking you was gonna make it better, and really you made it worse. Or there was a situation where you recorded a song, someone's computer crashed, they lost your files, you went back in, tried to redo the record, but it never quite sounded or felt like the first copy. That's because it's almost literally hard to make the same, if I say hey, 30,000 times, it's going to be very hard to get the exact same A. Now, 30,000 times, there's a good chance I'm gonna get the same A. But if I go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, say the whole alphabet, try that 30,000 times, chances I get all 26 letters to sound exactly the same in sequence, damn near impossible, okay? And that's the reason why we have masters, because when you listen to that recording, there's a feel or emotion that was captured that makes you love that song, that's implanted in your brain, that creates a memory. Now let's get off of this part and talk about what this means for you. Well, whoever owns this capsulated piece, this combination of frequencies and waves and such, is in great power if it's a hit, because this version of the hit song will never be recreated the same way. Okay, it's not the song, it's this recording of the song that's valuable. This recording is what we promote to the world, which makes people want to come here alive. And live, you're creating renditions of this that are never going to be quite the same as this, because at a live show, you're creating a different experience. Erykah Badu said it best. She said the studio is about perfecting a moment and performances are about creating a moment. Perfecting a moment versus creating a moment. These are two different concepts. So the perfected moment is what we argue about when we talk about masters. Now, what does that mean for you guys right here? There's two versions of it. There's the physical version of how we recorded this and kept a copy of it. And there's the legal version of how we're tracking who owns this. All right. And the combination of these few things together are what your master is. Now let me talk about this and let me talk about this and tell you how it's going to make you money in the future. Let's talk about the physical side. This side right here. The physical side is the actual way in which you recorded the master. So in order to own a master, you want to keep track of the actual recording. Years and years ago, it was done on reel-to-reel, ADATs, CDs, various different forms of technology. Today, it's done on a computer. If you're using Pro Tools, it's done in the form of a session file. If there's any other software, Logic, Nuendo, Cubase, Fruity Loops, whatever you're using, at the end of the day, we still call them session files, right? Whoever has the original raw session files, the audio waves, and how they were put together and constructed is the person that has the master. Now, the master is not just the vocals themselves, it's also the way that those vocals were mixed and mastered, which means it's also the data that the system used to manipulate the sound is also a part of that master. That's the reason why if you go to a studio and you just record, you have no relationship, and you just leave, the engineer owns it, because the engineer is the one that put all the work in. It gets more technical, but the engineer put the work in and no one paid them for the services, etc., etc., etc. But the master itself, the work the engineer did, the work that the vocalist did, and the work that the writers did, all of that summed up into one beautiful pie. And normally today, that's kept either on a USB drive, it can be kept on an SD drive, on someone's hard drive, it can be put up in the cloud, it can be put anywhere. It is a digital folder with the engineer's data, with the recordings, which are now done in the form of waves or AIFF files or whatever, and that is the session file. That is the master itself, the physical copy. To say I own it means that I have it physically somewhere. So a lot of you guys out here saying I own my masters, but you don't even have all your session files. Bro, you don't own being 100. Get your files. If you have a Gmail account, you can push your files into Google Cloud. Click that button called Google Drive. Take your session files, zip them up into a compressed zip folder, push them things into the drive. You will always have them. Google gives everybody, I think, 10 gigabytes or a terabyte or something like that for free. You can fit a lot of records on there and open up more and more Gmail accounts, and if you run out, or pay the $1. I think it's $1 a month for all this extra space. Come on, guys. Like, keep track of your masters. Don't just keep it on the external hard drive. It can burn out. It can mess up. You lose all of your data. Now you're screwed. If your record was to take off and someone wants to take it and mass produce it or put it on radio or whatever, they don't even have the files. They don't even have the files. Keep the files, your session files, upload it to the cloud somewhere to keep a copy of it. That's part one, your master as a physical entity. Let's talk about part two, this side. This side here. This is your copyright side, okay? It's one thing to own the master. It's another thing to own the copyright. I talked about in a previous video how a label or a publisher or a production company or someone can come along and take your masters from you. They may not have taken your physical drive from you, but what they did take is ownership of it through the legal side. And what does that mean? See, whoever owns the master gets to license that master out for usage by other people. We talk about this in mechanical royalties. We talk about this in performance royalties, like my very first 2 videos I've ever done. Go back to episodes 1 through 6 and watch those. Going to help you a lot in understanding this. But your master is really going to be your SR copyright. It's really the person who owns the mechanical right, the person who can repress a copy, a master. It is called a master copy when you send it to the press machine and the press machine makes another copy of it. So back when they were printing vinyl, you give them a master copy, and the master is the one that all of the slave copies is what they're called. Slave. I don't know what's up with American masters and slaves, but it's everywhere. But anyway, the master copy is the original copy. The slave copy is all the copies that were made from the master copy. And if you were ever trying to get your music pressed, you have to submit the master so they can make copies of it. Even today, when you upload your music onto a streaming platform, you're using an aggregator of some sort. Spotify is letting you do it direct now, but however you're uploading your music to get it distributed on major distribution platforms, that form that you're uploading, that record you're uploading is the master version of the record. That is the version that the system is going to copy and duplicate all versions from. Whoever owns the legality of that is the person that owns where the money goes from the masters. Years ago, since it was a physical thing, we had to go to court and you had to give me my masters physically, put it in my hand. Now it's digital, so you don't have to do all that to actually get a copy of it. So the SR copyright gives you permission to mechanically reproduce that record and then make other people pay a fee for you to sell that copy, right? And the person that owns, some portion of the copyright gets a mechanical royalty, and then there's a performance royalty. We talked about that in previous videos. You got to watch those. I'm not explaining that again. But the person that owns the master owns the ability to decide the fate of the record. Will it get distributed? What platform will it be distributed on? Will it go to a movie? What movie will it go to? Will it go to a commercial? What if you're a religious person and the person that owns your masters decides, I want to put there's a movie, a scary Halloween movie about demons and killer poltergeist pastors or something like that, and they decide that your song is going to be the theme song for the demonic preacher, but you're a gospel artist. That doesn't fit your brand. It's probably going to be a bad look for you when your hit song is being played as some killer demonic pastor is killing children in some movie, right? But guess what? You don't own your masters. You have no say-so over where that record is used. So it's beyond just money. It's principle. It's a lot of other things. Across these different agreements, they have control whether they own their masters or not over what type of medium their music gets to be used on. In America, we don't. So that gives you guys hopefully a full view on what a master is. We could debate. I love to talk to people about the different forms and usage. There's a lot of different areas that I tiptoed around that I could have went more in depth in, but I want to keep these videos, enjoyable. I don't want to make them too long, right? I want to give you guys something that you can understand. I hope this was helpful. I've been rambling, but I've been killing it. I've been giving it to you. I don't know everything, but I know a lot about a little and a little bit about a lot. And every time I get in front of this camera, I try to give you guys everything that I got. This is Phase 6, your source for music, business, motivation, and support. Go to the website. I got a whole bunch of things on the website just for you guys to help you out. Contracts, agreements, ways to save yourselves, ways to keep your masters, ways to protect yourself, more information, more videos, different things of that nature. So, like, subscribe, follow, share. I'm out of here.